This is Business Now, reaching you live from iBrandTV News Studios in Lagos, Nigeria. Coming up, average U.S. gas price rises 22% in 2 weeks to record $4.43. The federal government says negotiations are still ongoing with the organized labor removing the subsidy on petrol. The Nigerian downstream and midstream petroleum regulatory authority denies withdrawing about $1.2 billion from the federation account. Oil prices shed as much as $4 a barrel as markets praise for higher U.S. interest rates. Hello again, and thanks very much for joining us. I'm Michael Nath. We begin business now from Russia, looking at the impact of the ongoing crisis on the state of the economy and business activities across the globe. Average U.S. price of regular grade gasoline shot up a whopping 79% over the past 2 weeks to a record-setting $4.43 per dollar as Russia's invasion of Ukraine is contributing to already high prices at the pump. Industry analyst Tribble Lundberg of the Lundberg survey said the new price exceeds by 32 cents the prior all-time high of $4.11 set in July 2008. But that's still quite a way from the inflation-adjusted record high of about $5.24 per gallon. Now, the price at the pump is 1.54 higher than it was a year ago. Lundberg said gas prices are likely to remain high in the short term as crude oil costs soar amid global supply concerns following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, Italian paper mills that make everything from pizza boxes to furniture packaging are ground to a halt as Russia's war in Ukraine has sent natural gas prices skyrocketing. According to reports, Italian steel mills likewise turned off electric furnaces last week, and fishermen are facing huge spikes in oil prices, stayed in port, mending nets instead of cashing them. Now were more than Italy, the European Union's third largest economy, is dependent on Russia energy taking a higher toll on industry. Some 40% of electricity is generated from natural gas that largely comes from Russia, compared with roughly 1/4 in Germany, another major importer and the continent's largest economy. Now, experts say a global food crisis looms unless the war in Ukraine is stopped. Fertilizer prices are soaring so fast that many farmers can no longer afford soil nutrients. Russia's coal and fertilizer king, Andrei Melnychenko, made that submission on Monday. Several of Russia's richest businessmen have publicly called for peace since President Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion on February the 24th, including Mikhail Friedman, Piotr Venn, and Oleg Deripaska. The United States and its European allies have cast Putin's invasion as an imperial-style land grabbing that has so far been poorly executed because Moscow underestimated Ukrainian resistance and Western resolve to punish Russia. The West has sanctioned Russian businessmen, including European Union sanctions on Melnychenko, frozen state assets, and cut off much of the Russian corporate sector from the global economy in an attempt to force Putin to change course. Now, the federal government at the weekend unveiled a new security arrangement for the nation's free trade zones in line with international best practices to guard investors and guarantee investors' confidence in the special economic zone. The government has also extended the validity period of the licenses of operators in free trade zones from 1 to 5 years. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment Otumba Ni Adebayo made this known during the inauguration of the new Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority Lagos office and the unveiling of the Special Economic Zone Security Unit at the weekend in Lagos. is that the country has realized over $20 billion in cumulative investments in 30 years of the free zone scheme. Adebayo said given the fiscal incentives associated with free zones, the scheme remained a veritable source of development. Now, the federal government is still in negotiation with the organized labor as regards the removal of subsidy on petroleum motor spirit, or premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol. Officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority said the removal of the subsidy on petrol had been an explosive issue. The spokesperson of the NMDPRA, Kimchi Apollo, confirmed that the government is still in negotiations with the organized labor on the matter. This, they said, had made the government engage in negotiations with the organized labor on the matter, despite the persistent rise in amount being spent on subsidy amidst the recent increase in global crude oil prices. This is as the World Bank projected that Nigeria would spend about 4 trillion naira on petrol subsidy in 2022, as oil marketers also said that the amount could rise to 6 trillion naira, going by the rise in the price of crude oil. The government has been in negotiations with the organized labor on the removal of petrol subsidy for over a year, as labor had demanded that Nigeria's refineries should be fixed before subsidy would be removed, among other demands. Now, following predictions that oil could hit $150 per barrel if the West sanctions Russia's energy exports, an expert has opined that building modular refineries is the way to go if Nigeria is to reap the benefits of the oil price surge. A popular policy analyst, Ario Oladende, said this earlier on iBrandTV's Business Breakfast show.
It is the crude that they bought at high price that they will process and sell the byproducts to us at higher price. In Germany yesterday, petrol that used to be €1 was being sold for 2.8 euros. Quietly now, government must be subsidizing petrol at about 400 naira per litre. Now that the extra profit that we will have made has been wiped off by the fact that the buyers of crude oil are paying more. That means they will sell to us at a higher price too. We cannot suddenly jumpstart, a refinery now. And that's why I said we're not going to be cashing out on anything. I will not be sitting down here and deceive the listening public. The technology behind those old refineries are obsolete. The best that can happen is for experts to go in there, do a kind of review. Anyone that they think can still be adapted to meet modern working systems, they do that. Otherwise, the entire thing should be scrapped. The only option we have is modular because they don't take so much time. Some of them in 90 days, they're established and then they're running.
The Nigerian Downstream and Midstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, formerly known as the Department of Petroleum Resources, has denied withdrawing about $1.2 billion from the Federation account in 2019. The NDMPRA asked the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts to demand an explanation from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on the withdrawal of it, as it was difficult to recover the amount from the oil company. The NDMPRA said this in its response to a query issued by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation, which asked the authority to recover the fund from the NNPC or be sanctioned. The office, in its annual report on the federal government of Nigeria's consolidated financial statements of the year ended December 31, 2019, submitted to the National Assembly on August 18, 2019, reported the deduction of $1.2 billion by the NNPC from oil and gas royalty assessed by the defunct DPR. Now, bakers under the aegis of Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria are mulling a total shutdown of operations following steady and fast increases in the price of diesel in the past few days. The association said the continued rise in the price of diesel had made the price of the commodity to be doubled, warning that a total shutdown of operations by bread makers was imminent. The PBAN President, Emmanuel Honora, made the declaration on Monday. He explained that the diesel price hikes were taking a serious toll on bread production for its members. As a result, he called on the federal government to urgently accelerate efforts towards tackling the problem to avoid a shutdown of operations by its members. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is seeking urgent intervention from the federal government to support the production of goods as diesel price hits 720 naira per litre. Lanre Popola, the chairman, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo branches, said this in Ibadan while speaking on the increase of prices of petroleum products and lack of power supply. Popola said, and quote, "It is a difficult thing ensuring production at this time, as diesel has gone up to 720 naira and 730 naira per litre. He noted manufacturers are having 30% of what it used to be, whereas the disposable income of people is not increasing and the cost of products are going up. Popola said the way forward was for the government to come in and assist manufacturers by giving some rebate on diesel, adding that it is the only lifeline. Power generation companies maintain the recent incessant blackouts across the country are due to the fact that the weak infrastructure of transmission and distribution companies had rendered the quantum of electricity generation in Nigeria inconsequential. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, the Executive Secretary, the Association of Power Generation Companies, Joy Ogaji, kicked against the position of the Transmission Company of Nigeria that the GENCOs were to blame for poor power supply nationwide. On March the 8th, 2022, the TCN ascribed the low power generation in Nigeria to GENCO's inability or refusal to generate power as the transmission company absolved itself of any responsibility from the ongoing shortage of power supply across the country. But the GENCOs counter the claims of TCN, as Ogaji insisted that the transmission infrastructure put in place by TCN is weak. The Executive Secretary said, and I quote, "Since 2013, when the power sector was partially privatized till date, weak and inadequate infrastructure, transmission and distribution have continued to render inconsequential a significant portion of the generation capacities recovered or added by the GENCOs through huge investments to increase their respective generation capacities." Now, the Lekki Deep Sea Port in Lagos Free Trade Zone is going to add about $360 billion to Nigeria's gross domestic product within 45 years, the federal government announced on Sunday. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, who announced this after inspecting the seaport, also said the facility would begin commercial operations in September this year. He said the private sector-funded seaport was being constructed in accordance with a time schedule, stressing that in 3 months' time, the facility would have cranes. Commenting on the amount which the facility would contribute to the country's GDP, the minister said, quote, "It will contribute $360 billion in 45 years, which sounds much for you, but we actually need more of that money to accomplish what we want to achieve," end of quote. Now, Computer Professionals Registration Council of Nigeria has condemned the proposed NITDA Bill 2021 in its entirety. CBN delegates, led by the President and Chairman of Council, Kole Jagun, were at the stakeholders engagement recently organized by the National Information Technology Development Agency to consider the proposed NITDA Bill 2021, which, among other things, was aimed at changing NITDA from an IT development agency to a regulator of the information technology industry ecosystem. CPN, in a statement yesterday, signed by its Registrar Secretary to Council, Mohammed Bello Aliyu, said it observed it was obvious from the comments, suggestions and opinions expressed by all other stakeholders at the meeting, which held in Abuja on February the 18th, 2022, that the NITDA Bill 2021 arrogates powers of several authority or other regulatory agencies to NITDB and is an infringement on the statutory powers of other agencies of government like CPN, National Communications Commission, Galaxy Backbone, Office of the National Security Advisor, the National Universities Commission, among others. The Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit, Zone C, has intercepted 8 exotic vehicles, unregistered pharmaceutical products, as well as other contraband goods with a duty-paid value of 529 million naira between January the 1st and February the 28th, 2022. The exotic vehicles, which were said to lack relevant documents, include 3 Toyota Hilux of 2017, 2020 and 2021 models, 1 Land Cruiser Prado of 2016 model, 1 Toyota Highlander 2014 and 1 Toyota Venza 2016 model, among others. The controller FOUC of Customs, Ali Ibrahim, while showcasing the seized items in Owerri, said that 6 suspects were arrested during the period under review, adding that they had been granted administrative bail so far. He also said that 640 cartons of unregistered pharmaceuticals, including tramadol, worth 192 million naira, conveyed an DAF, a heavy-duty truck, and 1 J5 transit bus were intercepted along the Okada-Benin axis. Now, still to come, oil falls on talks to end Ukraine war and ahead of a Fed meeting. Details and more business news after this break. Stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery. Ooh.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
True unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming through unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your through unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix through unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. Through unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your through unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447.
Business Now on our iBrandTV Lagos. Africa Scene Now. Bamburi Cement PLC is now the latest company to announce plans to increase prices of its products by between 2 and 10% effective March 10 due to higher costs of input raw materials. The move is rare in the cement industry, which has suffered declining prices over the years amid price wars as new rivals entered the market and others expanded their production capacity. The company said in order to sustain its operations, prices of the Nguvu, Tembo and Fundi cement brands will be hiked. The price changes are expected to affect products from Nairobi, Mombasa, Limuru and Sagana depots. Due to cost inflation, an increase in prices of building materials will raise the prices of housing units and construction of roads and other infrastructure in the country. Now to foreign scene, oil prices shed as much as $4 a barrel on Monday, extending last week's decline as diplomatic efforts to end the war in Ukraine geared up and markets braced for higher U.S. interest rates. Brent crude futures were last down by $3.81 or 3.4% at $108.86 a barrel at 0741 GMT on Monday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures eased $3.85 or 3.5% to $105.48 a barrel. Both contracts have surged since Russia's February 24 invasion of Ukraine and are up roughly 40% for the year to date. Ukrainian and Russian negotiators are set to talk again on Monday via video link after both sides cited progress. Now, Russia's finance ministry said on Monday it had approved a temporary procedure for repaying foreign currency debt, but warned that payments would be made in rubles if sanctions prevent banks from honoring debts in the currency of issue. Now, Western sanctions over events in Ukraine have cut Russia off from key parts of global financial markets, triggering its worst economic crisis since the 1991 fall of the Soviet Union. The government is due to pay $117 million on 2 of its dollar-denominated bonds on Wednesday. The ministry said it had approved a temporary procedure to allow banks to make payments in foreign currency, but said the possibility of those payments going through would depend on sanctions. Several Russian banks have been banned from the SWIFT international payments network, hampering efforts to move money outside of Russia. Most share markets firmed and oil slate on Monday on hopes for progress in Russia-Ukraine peace talks, even as fighting continued to rage, while bond markets braced for rate rises in the United States and UK this week, while Russian missiles hit a large Ukrainian base near the border with Poland on Sunday. Both sides gave their most upbeat assessment yet of prospects for talks. Bonds elsewhere remained under pressure, having taken a beating last week as surging commodity prices looked set to boost inflation further, with yields on 10-year treasuries rising 4 basis points to 2.04%. Notably, a key measure of U.S. inflation expectations climbed to 3% and near record highs. We go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll bring you more news. Stay with us.
Powerful looks command respect, they say. The perfect body, the perfect grooming, and ultimately the perfect skin. Looks, style, and grooming makes the ultimate man. Found a ridiculously easy way to make my skin always feel epic. My name is Neo, I found Blemiviv, and now my skin finally makes sense.